put all this Ballon d'Or talk behind us, right? We got to focus on what's important moving forward, and that's regaining our form in La Liga, because we got a match against Valencia on Saturday, and this game could be one that we can use to turn around our season. Now, before we start the match preview and give our predictions on what we think is going to happen, right, there is a possibility that this game gets postponed, chat, because in the region of Valencia, they are experiencing some serious flooding at the moment. So there is a possibility that La Liga ends up postponing this game, right? At the time of this recording, I don't have any other information besides that. So I hope that everybody that's in that region of Valencia is doing okay, right? And hopefully the game will be able to take place at the original time. But just want to call out, there is a possibility that this game gets moved to another date, okay? So it looks pretty bad though, right? I mean, like, look at these pictures of the flooding, right? There's another one here as well. And I guess this happened overnight, because I don't remember seeing any of this yesterday, right? I'm waking up to this news about a possible flood. So I hope that everything is working out for everybody that's there, right? I know that could be a devastating thing when natural disasters happen. And, you know, look, there are things that are bigger than football. So if Valencia are not able to hold the game on Saturday because of the flooding, then I think it would be the right call for La Liga to postpone it. But yeah, here's a report. It says, breaking. It's now very likely that the Valencia Real Madrid game will be postponed. As I said, at the time of me recording, nothing official has come out. So we'll continue with this match preview as normal. But we got to get into this La Liga table, right? As I said, this game against Valencia is a bounce back game, in my opinion. They are sitting bottom of the table. Valencia fucking suck. And even though I hope that that region of Spain recovers, I do not like Valencia. I do not like their fans. They abuse our players every single time we go there. It's going to be a very hostile environment. But we should be beating the shit out of them. I think the Real Madrid villain arc starts against them. We saw what happened against Barcelona in El Clásico when we lost 4-0. We saw how the Ballon d'Or robbed Vinicius of that award and gave it to Rodri. We saw how Real Madrid took a stance and did not show up for the ceremony. Now the whole world, once again, are against Real Madrid. And I think this is the perfect motivation that the players need to try and turn our season around. Because at the time of me recording this, we're sitting 7 points behind Barcelona, who are on fire at the moment. And if we don't fix up very fast, there's a possibility of Barca running away with the La Liga title. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm not trying to see that. Our form this season has been very shocking. How many games have we played in all competitions? Chat, we've only looked good in about 3 of those games. Espanyol, Alaves, Atletico Madrid. Those are the only 3 games that I could sit here and say, for a majority of it, we played well, especially in the first half. Every other game, we've literally been second half FC. Before the Barca game, we usually let teams dominate us in the first half. They get all these big chances against us, right? We got to rely on Thibaut Courtois to make save after save after save. Teams are getting all these big opportunities. They don't capitalize. And then in the second half, we get one chance, we score, and then kick on from there. That's been the story of our season so far. Now, against Barcelona, in the last game that we played, where they beat the shit out of us 4-0, the story was a little bit different. Because in that first half, I think defensively, we played very well. We neutralized Barcelona's attack. They didn't really create anything. The issue that we had in that first half was Mbappe cannot stay on side to save his life. Anytime it looked like we had a goal-scoring opportunity or we were in behind their defense, Mbappe was offsides. And then the few times that he wasn't offsides, Vinicius shooting was shit, Mbappe shooting was shit. But that second half of football that we played in El Clásico was the worst 45 minutes I think I've ever seen from this club. Like, I could not believe how awful we looked in that game in the second half. Lewandowski scored a brace in the span of 2 minutes. Then you got Lamine Yamal who scored the third, and then Rafinha scored the fourth. They blitzed us. They bent our midfield and our defense over. They spread us open, and they pumped us. And we did nothing. We just sat there and took it. And I hope that that game was a wake-up call for a lot of these players. It better be. Because while I think we now have an uphill battle, there's still trophies to be won. And I'm not trying to go trophyless this season. But if we don't fix up ASAP, it's going to be a long season for us. I think Carlo Ancelotti, he's losing me. You guys know I've been backing this guy all season. People have been calling for Carlo to be sacked because of how shit we've been playing. And I've been backing it. But after that 4-0 loss to Barca, to go out there and put in that kind of performance, and then to see how this fraudulent manager, because this season, Carlo has been fraudulent. Carlo's been a pussy this season as well. What were those changes that we've made? Like, all season, Carlo's been making the wrong subs. Like, what are we actually doing here? What are we doing here? Lewandowski scores a brace in 2 minutes, and we don't even make a change. Like, we're getting battered. And you bring on Luka Modric, a 40-year-old midfielder. Luka Modric is not the midfielder that you bring on when you're chasing the opponents. Modric is a midfielder that you bring on when you're trying to control what's going on. We didn't have control. We're down 2-0. Bring on Arda Güler. How the hell did Mbappe play the entire game? Bring on Endrick. He couldn't do any worse. So, yeah, I'm pissed off with Carlo this season. I've not been happy with how he's managed us. I think his in-game management has been shit. I think his tactics have been shit. Right? Look at this, chat. Jude Bellingham played deeper than Lucas Vazquez on the right side. Why is Bellingham, especially now that Rodrigo is injured, why are we not running the diamond? Why is Jude not at the top of the diamond? So, yeah, Carlo's been pissing me off. And I'm not defending him anymore. I am Carlo out. But I'm not Carlo out in the sense that I think he needs to be sacked immediately. I think Carlo should be given the rest of this season because I don't believe there's another manager that can come in and stabilize this big squad that we have. But with that being said, this does need to be his last season. That's why I'm Carlo out. I'm already thinking we need to go get a new manager. I don't think you can sack Carlo. Carlo is a legend. He's won us a lot of trophies at the club. And I'm very thankful because I've seen a lot of success underneath Carlo Ancelotti. So I think the club should give him a different role. But manager, we need a new one. It's time for fresh ideas. It's time for fresh tactics. Okay? So, man, look, like I said, I think this game against Valencia is the perfect way to bounce back. We already know that it's a very hostile environment, right? The fans are nasty, awful fan base that they have there. We know about the racismo that's going to probably take place whenever this game goes ahead, right? Like, there's reports that the Valencia fans have already prepared an ugly chant about Vinicius and the Ballon d'Or for the game at the Mestallo on Saturday. These guys are sitting in 20th, and they're thinking about how can they antagonize Vinicius. This needs to be the start of Real Madrid's villain arc. The entire world is going to want to see how Vinicius bounces back after that Ballon d'Or snub, after not showing up for the ceremony. We are public enemy number one. And I think 20th place Valencia, especially at their ground, that would be the best way to re-announce ourselves. Everybody's looking at us. Everybody's laughing at us. What are these players going to do? Now, I do want to look at Valencia, right? Let's look at the ops real quick because, as I said, they are the worst team in La Liga. Look at them down there in 20th. They've only won one game this season. They've drawn 4 times. They've lost 6 games. In their last 5 matches, they've lost twice. They've drawn 3 times. They don't have a W. They have scored about 8 goals and conceded 17. I need to see a 5 or 6-0 Saturday. If you don't go out there and dominate Valencia, then I don't know what we're doing. If we cannot go out there and get a resounding win against Valencia, then we got to just cancel the season. I want to see us kick them while they're down. I want us to be a part of the reason why those bums will be getting relegated. They are awful. They have no attack. They have no midfield. They have no defense. They are the worst team in the league. We're still chasing Barcelona. This is a must win. Because even though I just said I do want Carlos sacked, at the end of the season, if he loses or does not win against Valencia, if we even draw, I want him sacked immediately. I don't even want to wait until the end of the season. Get rid of him then. That would be inexcusable. But yeah, man, Valencia are last place on 7 points. So this is a must-win game for them as well because they need to get some points to get out of the relegation zone. They don't want to be relegated. So, I mean, look, this is the worst team that we're going to be playing against. And you know what's so funny? The bottom 3 teams we've already ran through. And again, the form that we've been on, we've been struggling. Las Palmas should have beat us. Real Madrid, we didn't look comfortable, right? There's about 4 games this season that we've played against shit teams where, to be honest, we could have lost. That Barcelona game, that humbled us, right? Because we finally went against a good team that would put away their chances. But we should have lost against Las Palmas, right? We should have lost against Real Sociedad, Villarreal, Celta Vigo. All those teams had a lot of chances that they just kept missing. We got very lucky. But I'm feeling confident for this game because of the things that have transpired over the last few days, bro. These last few days has been arguably the worst that I've experienced as a Real Madrid fan in a very long time. Like, that humbling to Barcelona. And then when we think, okay, well, Vinicius will win the Ballon d'Or, so that's something to look forward to. And then he gets snubbed. It was just like a slap in the face. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident because I believe the players will definitely be up for this game. And all that I'm saying is it's going to be a bad day to be a Valencia defender because we are going to be on smoke. Now, just running through their last few games, right? Look at this, chat. I mean, like, what you guys saying? Like, look at this form. So they've only beaten Girona this season, which is a little bit surprising, right? You know, we know Girona, they play really good football. They're in the Champions League, but it's not the same squad that they had last season. Girona were rated, okay? No more Dovbyk, Savio, Yan Couto. A few other players have left them as well. Like Alex Garcia, I think, has left to go to Bayer Leverkusen. So, yeah, this Girona team is kind of washed now. But I think for Valencia, right, their only win to be against Girona is kind of crazy. You know, they lost against Atleti. They drew with Osasuna. They lost to Real Sociedad. They drew with Leganés. They played a friendly against Mexico in October. Wait, what? Clubs play international teams and friendlies? What? Mexico versus Valencia. Am I reading this right? Oh, shit. They drew 2-2 with Mexico. Nah, Mexico is washed. What the hell? How is a country drawing to the last place team in La Liga. Nah, that's bad. That's a bad look on Mexico. How the hell does an international team do a friendly with the club? That just seems off. And then they drew with Getafe. And then their Copa del Rey match against, I'm not going to even try to pronounce this team, but that's been postponed. So, I don't know, obviously, right, we talked about the flooding that's going on in the region of Valencia. And there's a possibility that the match against Real Madrid gets postponed. But at the time of me recording this, I don't know if it has or not. We'll find out, right? Now, let's look at their squad real quick. Let's look at Valencia and what they got going on, right? So, I do know a few of their players here, right? Their squad's not good, but they do have some names, right? Like their goalkeeper, right? He is considered one of the best goalkeepers in Europe, right? Actually, Liverpool signed him last summer, but then they sent him back on loan to Valencia. So this guy is going to more than likely be Liverpool's long-term goalkeeper after Alisson leaves, right? A lot of people do rate this guy, but he's going to be in for a very long day, right? You got Christian Mascara, the center back, who I have heard of before, right? You got Pepelu, Jose Gaya, who I know he's been around for a while. Javi Guerrera. Let me see. This kid right here, right? Yarick. I can't even pronounce his last name. This guy looked like Tarzan, right? Tarzan over here. We were linked to this guy a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago. I remember us being linked with the move for him. I don't really know too much about him, but because we were linked with a move, I definitely will be watching him on Saturday, right? This is his audition, in my opinion, right? Let me see how you do against the big boys. You get me? So, yeah, their squad is not that good. As I said, we do know a few players here, right? Like Thierry Carrera. I know him as well. They're saying that he's injured for this game, but yeah, does not matter who's injured. It doesn't matter who's available. We should be beating the shit out of Valencia. Now, if you guys have watched Valencia, maybe more than not, because I've not watched one game from them this season. I just see their form, and I can tell you that if you're sitting 20th in La Liga, you're ass. But if you watch Valencia, right, get in the chat. Let me know how good they are, right? Like, maybe they've just been unlucky, and they have been playing very well. Who knows? I doubt it. But regardless, right, let's move off of Valencia, and let's get into some injury updates concerning Real Madrid. So, a big injury update that we got this week, right? And we do have a few other players out, so we'll kind of run through them before we get into the predicted starting 11, right? They're saying that Rudiger, he's possibly going to miss this game, right? The reports are conflicting, but they're saying Rudiger has no injury, just an overload. He will be doubtful until the last minute, but the general feeling is that he will be able to play on Saturday versus Valencia. So if he has an overload, right, obviously we all know the shit summer window that Real Madrid had in terms of we didn't bring in any defensive reinforcements, right? So we've had to just rely on Rudiger and Militao this season because we decided to not go sign a defender in the summer, right? David Alaba is still out injured. Nacho has went to Saudi, and the club have done nothing about that. We tried to sign Lenny Yoro. You don't want to pay the money that Manchester United were willing to pay. So we miss out on Euro, and then we do nothing about it. So, yeah, Rudiger is overloaded because he has to play every game, literally. He has to. And we saw it last season, and sometimes this season, right? Tchouaméni has filled in at center back. But if we would have addressed our defensive issues, then he wouldn't have to do that. Our only fit center back behind Rudiger and Militao is Jesus Vallejo, and he's shit. So let's see what happens, right? I'm not too sure what the injury was that he suffered against Barca, but they're saying that he's doubtful. That does not sound good, especially when I saw this other report about Carlo using Militao and Tchouaméni as center backs in training this week, right? They're saying that Rudiger is back from injury, but the option to use Militao, Tchouaméni is on the table to give Rudiger some rest. Now, I'm not opposed to giving Rudiger rest because, again, we cannot afford for him to get injured. We really cannot. So if the club do want to rest Rudiger, I'm fine with that. I think Tchouaméni, we've seen him do a good job at center back. It sucks that we're taking one of the best defensive midfielders in the world out of that midfield and putting him in the back line. But when the board fail us with signings, when we have to deal with injuries and just all these issues that come up, and we're not properly prepared because Florentino Perez decided to not sign a defender, that's just what we have to do. So Rudiger is the new injury that has popped up this week. It's like every single week at Real Madrid. It's almost like who's injured next, right? It's like we're playing a game here. Anyways, let's talk about Rodrigo, right? We know that he missed El Clásico because he has a hamstring injury. They're saying that he's going to miss 15 to 20 days, not games, 15 to 20 days. So he's not going to be fit against Valencia, but they're saying that there is a possibility that he is back for the game against AC Milan in the Champions League, right? So that will be a big boost, but he will not be available for the game against Valencia. And same thing goes for Lunin, right? He also missed El Clásico. He's dealing with an abductor injury on his left leg. So he's going to be missing a few games as well. Lunin will be the goalkeeper for this Valencia game, right? Courtois, he's arguably been our best player this season. He's bailed us out a lot. He's the reason that we entered El Clásico having not lost a game in the season, because this guy has been immense for us. He is the best goalkeeper in the world, but despite Lunin having a shit show over the weekend, I still do back him to turn his performances around. So, Courtois, get your rest, bro. Get your rest. And then just to kind of, show you the injuries in a overview here, right? We talked about Courtois. We talked about Rodrigo, right? Danny Carvajal got that crazy injury against Villarreal, so he's done for the season. We won't see him until next season. And then David Alaba, who tore his ACL last season, is still working his way back, right? So these are the injuries that we have at the moment. These players are 100% not going to be there for the game against Valencia, right? As I said, Rudiger, he is doubtful. There's a possibility that he's rested, but we won't know for right now. So I think we should give Rudiger a rest, because to me, Rudiger is one of the best center backs in the world. And again, we literally cannot afford for him to get injured. So let's now get into the starting 11, right? So here's my expected 11 against Valencia. If I was Carlo Ancelotti, this is what I would do. Let's get into it. So obviously, as we talked about, no Courtois, so Lunin has to be in goal, right? At right back, you got to play Lucas Vázquez. I know I don't really rate this guy that highly, but if Lucas Vázquez, even though he had a bad second half against Barcelona, right, that's against Barca, right? He's going against probably the most informed team in Europe, and he's shit defensively, right? Rafinha is one of the most informed players, right? So he was always going to get cooked. But if Lucas Vázquez can't give me a great performance against the 20th place Valencia, I want this guy gone at the end of the season, right? So Vázquez at right back, and then we'll do Militao at right center back like he's been playing this season. And I actually am going to go Tchouaméni in the back line. I think, look, if you're playing a 20th place team, right, the worst team in La Liga, Rudiger should be able to get a rest, right? It obviously sucks that we'd have to take Tchouaméni out of midfield. But again, we've seen him do a good job for us in that back line when needed as like an emergency center back. Then left back, I'm going Ferland Mendy, right? Or maybe I'd say Fran Garcia, right? Because, again, you know what? Let's go Fran Garcia. I think, Mendy hasn't been playing that well either. I think he could definitely get a little rest before Champions League games kick back off. And then I'd say Camavinga, right? And don't worry, we're not going to really be in a 4-3-3. Just lineup builder. They've literally moved their stuff around, so I'll have to adjust. But Fede Valverde, right mid. I think Luka Modric starts this game. I don't think he's going to start Arda Güler, right? I mean, come on now, right? Carlo, I've been trying to tell you guys, Carlo does not rate Arda Güler. Then we'll do Jude. And I'll explain why in a second, chat, why I'm doing this, right? Vinny. And then, unfortunately, I think Mbappe should be coming off the bench for this game, but we know that he's not. So this looks like a 4-3-3, but I think we need to go back to the diamond formation, right? So, Camavinga. Then we'll have Modric, Valverde. Jude returns back to that 10/false 9 kind of role. And then you got Mbappe and Vinny as basically the two strikers up top. So this is the formation that I want to see us use on Saturday. I don't want to see a 4-4-2 flat. I don't want to see Jude Bellingham on the right mid playing fucking right back, right? No, I want to see him at the top of the diamond formation, right? And then just like last season, right? Off the ball, this is how we'll be set up structurally, right? But then on the ball, right? Then then Vinny and Mbappe split out wide, and then Jude can crash the box, right? Like that's what he was doing last season. That worked. This is what I want to see us do against Valencia. This is the 11 that we must put out there, right? Carlo needs to stop experimenting. And even if you want to say, well, Camavinga is a much better ball progressor than maybe Valverde or Modric. Look, I still think that Camavinga, compared to them, he's just better defensively, right? And I think in this game, we should be dominating possession, right? In that first half, we should be dictating the tempo of the game. And I think this is how it'll go. I think first half, we'll be on smoke. I expect us to score 2 goals in that first half. Then in the second half, I think that we still dominate the game, and then we score maybe 1 or 2 more. Ultimately, what I'm saying is I do not believe Valencia should be scoring against us. And I think that we need to be battering them. I'm saying Real Madrid will win 4 or 5-0. And this is the formation that I want to see Carlo employ because, man, this is actually kind of crazy. So you guys see it right here. I know I might have not been showing it this whole time, but here's the formation that I think Real Madrid need to employ, right? So obviously we got Lunin in goal. You got Lucas Vazquez at right back, Militao at right center back, Tchouaméni at left center back. I'm going with Fran Garcia at left back, and then Camavinga at CDM, Luka Modric left CM, Valverde right CM, Jude at the tip of the diamond, and then Vinicius and Mbappe up front. And as I said, off the ball, it could be a 4-4-2. But then on the ball, right, just like last season, Vinny goes out left, Mbappe goes on to the right, and then you have Jude who's able to crash the box. And then maybe we see this guy score a goal, okay? Especially with no Rodrigo being there. I don't see why we cannot go back to this formation. So, yeah, as I said, let me know what you guys think about my starting 11. Give me your score predictions. And, yeah, get in the chat. Let me know what you guys think, right? Definitely make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. Turn on those post notifications. We will be doing a watch-along for the game right here. So you guys definitely do not want to miss that, right? Big up to the damn chat. As always, get in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Holla Madrid!